By the end of 2017, opposition political parties announced they would reverse actions by the members of the 10th Parliament of amending Article 102B of the Constitution on presidential age limit. The article is no longer in the Constitution after Parliament passed the bill and the President assented to it on 27th December last year. Opposition parties that include Forum for Democratic Change, Democratic Party and Conservative Party want to engage citizens on fundamental democratic rights. Former President, Forum for Democratic Change, retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besigye, says there is need to deepen opposition party networks.
These representatives that betrayed people are going to remain a subject for isolation and total rejection. Them socially, politically, socially isolate them economically.
On the other hand, Lord Mayor Elias Lukwago says, according to Article 3 of the Constitution, it is legitimate for citizens to defend the Constitution.
All citizens of Uganda shall have the right and duty at all times to defend the Constitution, but specifically about defense in Party B is to do all in their power to restore this Constitution after it has been suspended, overthrown, abrogated or amended contrary to its provisions.
The opposition also is concerned with land grabbers and ensuring representation at local council level.
Few months or weeks to come, if this is not resolved, we should be carrying out our elections ourselves.
Have supreme powers under a supreme constitution. They can undo anything which has been badly done by Parliament.
Meanwhile, opposition party representatives attribute the persistent murders in the country to a dysfunctional security system. They also allege that the country cannot meet its needs due to an economic crisis. I'm Nafka Farida and Gloria Gwetabenji reporting.
Thank you very much. We picked that story from newsroom to kickstart our debate. There are a lot of huge issues the opposition has raised there. And in studios, joining me to discuss broadly some of these sensitive issues is the Minister of State for Defense in charge of Veteran Affairs, but also Member of Parliament for Isingiro North, retired Colonel Dr. Bright Rwamirama. You're welcome to the show, Honorable.
Thank you. Good evening, viewers.
Yeah, Honorable, what do you take of the story that you've just watched on the screen over there?
It is very amazing because sometimes I thought I didn't get it clearly, but it's like a joke. How can you isolate members of Parliament socially, economically, and all those sorts of things? We represent people and we consulted. First of all, people should understand that we represent people, and our voting was actually a pattern of the thinking of the people we represent. Take example of my district. I have a resolution of district council on the matter. I have resolutions of 6 sub-counties, including 2 town councils of Isingiro County North, urging me to amend the Constitution. I've had voices there saying that we sought to protect the Constitution.
Yes.
Amending the Constitution to make it consistent with the reality on the ground is actually to protect it from challenge, from abuse. You cannot give democracy on one hand and take it away with the other hand. Can you shy away to the fact that 70% of the population are the youth? Wouldn't you see, last time I was discussing with you here, that there were inconsistencies in the Constitution, an 18-year girl was elected a member of parliament.
Yes.
But
Eastern.
yes, but so many youths were stopped from participating in local leadership positions, which are actually lower than parliament.
What's the age of you to taking part in the elections or being an
When you are mature, you are a voter, 18 plus, and that's what we did.
So for parliament,
So we allowed the youth to participate at all levels. We also made sure that a discriminatory clause is removed. You cannot say democracy belongs to the people and then you turn around and you say no, because of age you should go out. You know, age is ability and really the energy to deliver.
so Honorable, you have a resolution from all your 6 sub-counties
Yes, so now they
give
want
you
to
permission
isolate
to
me
treat. Yes, you must be
economically,
now. You are going to be
socially.
isolated
How? By who?
by the opposition.
How are they going to do it? You know, it's like stopping a bus when it has passed. You know, the practice here is that you must stop the bus when it is coming. But when it has passed, you must know that you are actually early for the next one and too late for the other one. Yeah. So they lost the debate in the House instead of staying there and actually articulating their issues and maybe convince some members to stay. They lost it. And again, it's about consistency. They were saying you cannot have, you cannot remove age limit without restricting term limits. We restored term limits. So what is the issue now?
So this is another level of
Their argument was actually that we are removing the brakes from the vehicle. We had removed the front brakes, now we are removing the rear. These were the arguments. But you know, in Parliament, it was consensus that, okay, if we remove the age, let's have time limit, maybe. Yeah, but we restore the term limit.
Honorable, we've seen the opposition making a lot of threats, making a lot of promises. At one time they said there will be tsunami. At one time they said if you do this as government, the country is going to collapse. Is politics about lying? Should we take you serious? Or this is the type of concept we are nurturing in Uganda as a country? Do all politicians world over make empty promises?
First of all, I have just watched the interview and really I get concerned. The dressing in that attire red, what does it show? Red caps, these are caps we used to see with Muslims. Everybody is putting on red band. What is that? Does it signal? Does this signal war? Are we going to run this country by threats? Are we going to coerce people to do what they don't want to do? What you saw in the parliament is people climbing on the tables, breaking microphones, and going to court to protest in the manner in which they were restrained and actually not talking about what they did. Are you not aware that a committee was appointed by the Speaker?
Yes.
Has the report come out?
Not yet.
So what was the fracas? We must appreciate that actually the Speaker was very tolerant, extremely tolerant. Sometimes we are getting worried to go outside and you say, I'm a member of Parliament, of the 10th Parliament, because of our colleagues, what they are doing.
But is this a health trend for a country, Honorable, where we are seeing a complete line between the government in power and the opposition that should be checking the operations of government? Because we are saying there is nothing good that the opposition has come out to commend the country. Is this the style of politics?
Actually, they are behaving unconstitutionally. That one I can state here. They are behaving unconstitutionally because the issue of who leads was sorted out. You must go to the ballot paper, the ballot books. So they don't choose X and for you go to demonstrate. They were arguing that we are missing to hand over power peacefully. But you know, handing over power is not handing over power to losers. Power must be handed over to the winners. So you don't lose in a constituency and you come, I hear they are electing 300 and so many members. Where are they going to sit? In parliament, where?
That all the 300
is that
members are going to be
isolated?
How? Yes.
Why don't they go to court? If there was any wrongdoing, why don't they go to court? They are not going to court because they know whatever was done within the law and was done within the powers of the Constitution. Article 259, 260, 261 stipulates how to amend the Constitution.
Are Ugandan politicians trying to define their own methods of politicking?
Well, I don't know whether these are Ugandan politicians, but they must, for everything you see them, there must be something behind it. This trend is not healthy and really needs to be investigated.
But government is looking at it, and every month you're paying them salary from the taxpayer who's suffering in the village to raise money.
Sometimes it is good to learn through experience. If the government had pounced on them in that manner, people say, no, you are behaving bad. But let people also see the kind of the opposition we have. I'm really very, very, there are individuals there I would not have expected to be doing what they are doing. And that's why I say maybe people need to look critically inside and see what is there, what is driving this.
There was this platform that was bringing together all the political parties in this country to try and sit wherever there are issues of national interest and put their views together and come up with a resolution. What happened to it?
You know, there is an English proverb that a doctor is always happy in a diseased village. There are some people who are benefiting from this chaos. And that explains why they continue to do it. But who is sponsoring it at one time will be written in history. And I'm very sure people must be trying to find out what is the matter.
Yeah. Dr. Rwamirama, you've been here for some good time on the political scene, but also you've looked at other countries practice and deal with politics. Are you comfortable with the way the opposition is trying to give the alternative, given the magnitude of the challenges this country is faced with in terms of policy alternative, but also maybe merging up with government, because government is run on ideas? Are they helping government or Ugandans to see where the country must be in a couple of years?
One is that as Ugandans, there are areas which should bound us together. Issues of development, issues of economy, issues of security, issue of social services, and general service delivery should be not really, we should not be disagreeing on these issues. But what is coming out clearly is that if government wants, if they say laughing is good, they will say no, people don't laugh. If tomorrow the government come up and say, you know, we want to increase the salary of the workers, say no, don't increase the salaries of workers. Put medicine in the hospital. So the kind of trend I'm seeing here is that it is now fashionable for people to just oppose whatever government brings. And you could see in the House on that very ugly day when they broke microphones and there was a fracas. The government side, they moved out. The independents, almost all of them, moved out. But these guys were there fighting among themselves and breaking things. Now they turn around and protest the manner in which they are pushed out. For how long can this be tolerated? I think it is something that we have to discuss in the near future.
The same story towards the end, they did also make another big, I'll call it statement, because amidst that group was a retired colonel, and they did say that the current murders we're experiencing in the country is because of a dysfunctional, in quotes, security system. And I'm privileged you are in the circles of security. You are Minister of State for Defense. What is your take on this statement?
You know, you must qualify statements with data. How many people were killed in murder in the last 5 years? Are we deteriorating or we are improving? You don't give a blanket statement. We are very many. Now the population has increased. So the probability that the number of crime is going up is possible. Secondly, you see people behaving like the way some of my brothers are behaving. Don't you think that in society we are sending very wrong messages? When you go in the house, the moment you are elected a member of parliament, your status changes. They call you honorable. You see, honorable is that you must come with honor. But we are fighting, we are breaking, we are disobeying the speaker, we are doing all sorts of things. You saw there, the red banners. Do I need to put on a red cap to articulate my point? Whether I come here in a Kaunda suit or what, does it matter? I think what matters is the substance. What message are we sending to the population? The one we want to lead tomorrow. If the Constitution says we must compete for positions, you lose it, you want power to be transferred to you. This slogan, they won election. How did you win election? You don't have LC5, you don't have councillors, you don't have members of parliament. Even those who are independent are NRM leaning. So how come you come and tell people?
Honorable, laws are made to ensure that you deter society from bad conduct or from committing challenges. We are seeing now misconduct in parliament.
Sure. I agree with you.
Yes.
The rules must change. We must change those rules, especially when you are suspended. Should you continue to earn money? If you are really breaking a property, you should pay for them. I'm looking forward for people who broke those microphones to pay. So don't you think it is proper? You work here in UTV, if you break that camera deliberately, you should pay for it.
They will have to deduct on your salary,
sure,
even if you lost it in the field.
I think even the population is very angry. They are demanding for disciplinary action. And I really want to reiterate and commend the speaker. She actually became extremely patient, extremely tolerant. The good thing is that actually she remained very, very, very focused.
Yeah, Honorable Bright,
she reminded them how they are immune on what they say and not what they do. She reminded them about the rules of parliament. She reminded them about the powers of the speaker. She reminded them the etiquette of members of parliament. There is nothing she did not do to put those members online, but they defied everything that she said.
The Honorable Norbert Mao has on several occasions, when given opportunity, to talk about the behavior, the style, and the quality of debate in parliament. And he has suggested or proposed that there is need to review the operations of parliament and maybe create a house of commons whose quality and character of people that are going to think and debate for Uganda should be at the other level, because some people are afraid to join politics because they are thinking it's not now a game worth going for. Would you share a similar view that you need to now separate and create another level in parliament so that there are people who can critically and seriously think for this country if it's to have really good policy?
You know, the improvement is a continuous process. And when you prescribe remedies for any situation, you must first study it properly.
Yes.
Some of the colleagues are not really in touch with reality on the ground. Who is determining who goes to parliament? What do they want? If it was the case, you know what happened in Chadondo?
Yes.
Huh? There was an FDC guy who had won. He lost the seat, and another person entered.
Even the one who had lost again.
He lost again, and the one who had won also lost miserably, actually. So, my brother, Honorable Norbert Mao, I was with him in Parliament, and we are on the same platform, especially on World Bank activities in the world, especially in Africa. He knows very well how we are phased out because we are trying to dig out some of the not pleasant things that people want to hear. So, the level of debate now in Parliament has so many things to influence it. If they bring people who are jumping on the tables in the village, so they will come and jump them in the house. And unless he wants to capture the power of the people, there is no way he cannot control it.
And they won't allow.
I know some of those fellows I have seen lose constituencies, and you really see the people have voted somebody you cannot believe. So, the level of debate, I think, it can be improved in the House by the rules. That's what the rules are supposed to help us. But the very people who want those good debates, they are violating the rules. So I think we have to make the rules much, much tougher. But as for the quality of the people sent to Parliament, the power belongs to who?
The people.
To the people. And there are people out there. They would leave somebody, you would actually, if you are appointing, pick for the post and pick somebody because they have developed interests.
That's what the people have decided.
No, they have decided.
Now, Honorable...
And it's not for Uganda.
Yes.
It is world over.
The trend is really world over.
Don't you see we have so many musicians tomorrow if you stand because you have been here, you'll be elected.
No, yes, the other time with
Mbwate Kamwande is a group.
The other time in West Africa, a prominent footballer in the 90s, now is the president.
In West Africa, yes.
Yes.
And he has invited Wenger to attend his
inauguration. Now, Honorable, let's go to the second.
So now you can go and tell the rebellions not to elect where? Can you?
They can't.
So the only focus is that we must set rules and conduct of members of Parliament because they represent the nation.
Honorable,
and because we are misbehaving, the children who are watching us as members of Parliament, they start doing the same in the school.
And because you are their idols. Honorable, let's get to the second phase of this debate. 2018, as a country, I know as government, you must now be critically looking at what are going to be the prime focus for 2018. Of course, the budget is coming. We are finishing 2017, 2018 and starting 2018, 2019. But as government, what is going to be your prime focus for this year?
You know, government has identified the core sectors for funding. And the first one was the infrastructure, that if you develop infrastructure, then you set stage for development. You also create an environment of business that is conducive for investment. If you have more power, if you have roads reaching to the farmland, people can access market for the agricultural products. If you can have improved the water supply, if you can have telephones everywhere you go to increase efficiency in doing business, that was a government focus, including social services, education, health, and now we had stayed a long time without focusing on the civil servants. As you know, there was a subcommittee of cabinet which was set, and we are going to reduce some of the expenditures to make sure that the workers are facilitated to do the jobs better. That is one area that is now coming on top of what we are doing.
Yes. Now, there are two issues I want us to look at, Honorable. You know, I was following the debate in Parliament yesterday and Tuesday, and there were two interesting things that came up, which I want to share with you and seek your guidance over it. First of all, the opposition chief whip has sought leave of Parliament to move a private member's bill aimed at praying that Parliament scraps off transport of ministers and some civil servants, because in his view, he thinks public servants should be given vehicles, but they start deducting on their salaries, so that government can save over 620 billion shillings they have used not to buying those vehicles, but also servicing them. Don't you think, what are your thoughts over this, you know, big, ambitious bill?
Did I hear you correctly, so that the viewers can understand exactly what the Honorable Chiza wants to bring?
No, the Honorable, the one for the Chief Whip, the Honorable Semuju, for Kira municipality. He plans to move a private member's bill. For him, he thinks purchasing vehicles for civil servants, including ministers, in his view, he says this is excessive.
And members of Parliament.
He didn't talk about members of Parliament. He only talked about civil servants and ministers. The members of Parliament are not in the category of what he's thinking about.
Well, we need to look at the economics of it. But I know one proposal was made and it collapsed. Why it collapsed is that when we looked at the advantages and disadvantages and the costs, actually scrapping those vehicles became very costly. Now I will take an example. The health workers need to move. If you don't give them vehicles and they are going to move by taxis, it may have many lives going down. If they are going to immunize the children and they don't have vehicles, I don't know how we can quantify the economic loss of people who may die because of lack of attention. There is a sector like agriculture. Agriculture extension is that you must move. If you cut off expenditure for travel in agriculture, you are actually killing extension. If you are going to do research and you are using your vehicles, I don't know how it will work. police, defense.
You are supposed to respond to a situation at the border Congo.
So I would entertain and be supportive if somebody brought up a paper putting in measure to make sure that these vehicles are used for the purpose they are supposed to be used. But scrap them off, I am waiting to see that kind of paper in the house, because I've been here for quite some time. I remember it has happened twice, and every time we looked at it, it collapsed. There was a proposal by some individuals that instead of contributing to members of parliament for acquiring vehicles, they should be bought vehicles. When we looked at the cost of buying government vehicles for members of parliament, it was 10 times bigger than what the members of parliament are getting. Because that means he's not going to drive it, you are putting a driver. You are going to put fuel, maintenance costs on the government. So by giving them one time off was seen as cheaper.
And solving a lot of additional.
Solving a lot of problem and leaving them to do whatever they want to do. So I'm waiting to hear, but I know out there he will meet challenges.
Thank you very much. Now, the other issue that came up yesterday as we finalized this, there was a concern by one legislator that the roads in the countryside are in a sorry state. But also he did commend government for purchasing those caterpillars that are trying to open up the roads. But the challenge he mentioned was there is no fuel for some of these tractors, and they are stuck. What is the situation like in your area, and what's your general concern as government over this bigger problem? You purchase tractors?
You see, every district there is a road fund committee. And well, you have leaders who are very focused, things are being done. And where you have leaders opposing whatever government is bringing, then you have those packed. Because it is fashionable for them to show that the government is failing even when they have given you machines. It is not true that the roads are in a sorry state. What I know is that we have more bituminized roads. I can mention, there is a road from Mbarara to Chikagate, which was made through my constituency.
Yes.
There is a road from Ntungamo to Miramahiro. There is a road from Mukaware to Katuna. There is a road from Mukaware to Kisoro. There is a road from Ntungamo to Rukunjiri. There is a road from Ishaka to Kagamba to Ntungamo. There is a road from Fort Potro to Bundubujo. There are so many roads in the eastern, there are so many roads in the north. You can move actually from here on Tamak via Soroti to Arua.
Most of these honorables we end the show are issues raised by the opposition.
Yes.
Are they living in a different country? Do they intend to interpret things
it's
differently?
good to be a good opposition member is to give credit where it is due and criticize government where it is falling short. And that's what I like with some of them. But now the trend is whatever government is doing, you must criticize. Whatever.
So is 2018 a bright year for Uganda? Now that we are getting out of the political heat, the constitutional heat.
There is something that is very amazing that Ugandans now are beginning to see, to evaluate us. And it is on this basis that I think the 2018 is going to be a bright year. Because now, even at local level, people are asking questions. So the only challenge we have really as this year comes, as a nation, put the opposition's dissatisfaction and the demonization of government programs aside, is the issue of environmental concern. I agree with the member if he said that extreme weather conditions are affecting the roads. Yes. I've had a bridge in my constituency swept by storm and heavy rains. We have invaded the forests, we have invaded the wetlands, and we are beginning to see extreme conditions of drought and also violent rains.
Yeah, Honorable, in 2 minutes we are ending the program. On a lighter note, tomorrow UNEP is releasing PLE results. I know as a parent, as a grandparent, maybe you could be having someone you're expecting to see the result, but also your constituents.
Yes, I do.
Yes, in terms of what are your expectations for this, especially from constituency level, because we've seen some debate saying schools in rural areas are not performing well. How does Isingiro perform generally?
Well, we are not performing very badly, but we are not the best. We could do better. But what is true about Isingiro is that we have been improving for the last 10 years, both at primary and secondary level. And our university intake has also been increasing. But what I can say as a parent and a citizen of this country is we need not to demonize programs that are touching the lives of people who would otherwise have not been able to access them. The issue of rural schools doing very badly is tied to UPE schools. But people are not going to school. That's the truth. You cannot fight literacy rate by condemning government program that is touching so many people. We have so many single mothers now who have children going to school who would have otherwise not got the chance to educate their children. So I'm really expecting improvement generally, and it has been improving over the last 10 years. The rural schools are also getting first grade. To me, it is a very big achievement.
Thank you very much. That was a retired Colonel Dr. Rwamirama, the Minister of State for Defense, in charge of veteran affairs, but also Member of Parliament for Isingiro North. He was in the studio to shed light on a wide range of issues. Thank you very much for coming to the show, Honorable, and I wish you a very good evening. On behalf of the entire production crew, I'm Innocent Musinguzi, wishing you a very good evening. We have news up next at 10 p.m.